Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and welcome to 2016's Garage Customs, featuring the Tormach and the setup and what I learned along my way that may help you out. So let's get started. Before we get into just the setup of the Tormach and what I learned from it, I did want to back up a little bit and talk to you about how I got to this point. I think it's very important to stress this with the younger guys, that may want to look into getting into this type of thing. That as you can afford a piece of equipment, you do a side job, you make it, and you put those tools away for a day where you can use all of them at once. And I feel like I finally hit the pinnacle of everything I need to be creative. For myself, it started about 3.5 with prying apart Tonka toys and drilling out rivets on Hot Wheels, changing up wheels, tires, lower things, different components. I think I went through the whole Tonka line at one time and didn't have one stock vehicle with it. So I followed that with bicycles and motorcycles, and then I graduated in '86, so in the mid '80s I got into lowering cars and trucks. That's kind of where I saw a niche that I could make $100 after school in about 2 hours, pull a car into my dad's garage. We had a little compressor, a little die grinder, and I'd pull coils, cut coils, or remove leaves, turn down torsion bars, whatever it took. But I got about a 2-hour window that I had to get things in and get things out. So I always worked at being efficient. I took that money, which was probably somewhere around the $2,000 range, which is a lot for a young kid, and I bought my first welder and taught myself how to weld. And that took a couple years because we don't have the information stream like we have now on YouTube. Why I'm doing this is I want to share with you, I want to help you out, learn from some of my mistakes, and take you to the next level. Takes me up to 17.5. I enlisted in the Air Force Reserve as an aircraft inspector. I went right when I graduated, June, I went to basic training. I did about 2 years of kind of a solid active duty. I did basic training in tech school, then I came back and did what they call man days, and that's basically your active duty training to get your skill level and skill set up. Once I did that, I applied for what's called an Air Reserve Technician job, an ART. And basically that's a civil service guy that works hand in hand with the Air Force, and you have to retain your reserve position to have that job. So enough about that. There towards the end of my career, about let's say the 17-year marker, I had a shop going where I did custom metal fabrications. Started off about 91 plan with doing Suzuki Samurai roll cages, different Jeep bumpers, whatnot. Whatever I could do for a side job. Pretty much used that money to buy another tool to do something else, notchers, benders, down the road. So I had the welding background and everything, and that took me into an opportunity to take a job within the Metals Technologies branch, where I was a machinist welder. We did heat treat and a little everything. I worked a little bit on the manual mill and lathe, not much. I don't really call myself a true machinist. I don't have a huge background in it. I had a little bit of exposure and was hungry and passionate about it, so I always wanted to learn something. I worked hard to buy my jet lathe and my jet manual mill, and I had an opportunity where my dad believed in me enough this last year, and he gave me a check to basically buy this machine. I'm humbled and grateful and blessed to have that. So that's kind of my path on how I got here. Why I chose the Tormach. I was looking for automation in about 2012. Primarily I'm a fabricator. I build tube chassis cars. Primarily off-road, although I've done several hot rods because that's kind of where the market is. Looking forward to getting back, building my own dual sport type car, street legal, in the years to come. Tormach 2012, I started watching a video, Grismo Knives, and John and Eric Grimsmo had a Tormach and started making knives, and I've always been intrigued with anything metal. I have a forge that I just built last year, coal forge, so I can do some smithing work. So I thought maybe I would do a knife that way sometime. I don't know if I will do a knife or not on the Tormach. We'll have to see where it goes. Primarily, I'm automotive, motorcycle focused. Being totally honest with you, I'm looking for a new product line in the 2017 maybe KTM line. If they come out with a new 500, I would like to be one of the first to jump on that and get some parts for this. But John Grizzo, and then a little bit later I found the other John from NYC CNC, and if you guys don't know about them now, check out their channel and subscribe. They got a lot of great knowledge coming out of those two guys, and primarily John from CNC, NYC CNC was probably the little topper, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get the whole computer thing down and drawn in 3D. I did the Torchmate CAD. I have a 2x4 table, and I got that down really pat. And I thought, okay, if I learn that, I can learn the 3D thing, but I couldn't get it in my mind on how to draw a 3D part. Well, he's got a great video series on Fusion 360, and that basically bumped me up and took me to the next level. I didn't know if I was going to ever be able to afford a $5,000 SolidWorks program and then have no cam to go with it. So down the road, I looked at getting the 1100. Well, they released the 440, and I went down to the little machine shop down here I'm in Southern California, and they had it at Pasadena. They had an open house. I went to that. I saw the 440. And I thought, well, it's a little small, but if that's all I can afford right now, that's what I'll get, because I'll get it, I'll make some parts, I'll make some money with it, and then if I need to upgrade, then I'll upgrade to the 1100. I told my dad about it, and he says, hey, I've seen you be mechanical, I've seen you, do really wonderful things, I want to help you out, I want to get you a machine. I said, okay, well, basically 10 grand does it for the package. And I started looking at things, and I thought, you know what, if I'm going to drop 10, maybe I can add some of my money and get the machine I really wanted, which was the 1100. Primarily because it's got a larger work envelope, and that's why I chose the 1100. Some of the downsides of the 1100 was only having like a 5100 RPM spindle. For me, I wanted to focus more in aluminum. Both of the Johns use this. They work in aluminum and titanium. And I thought, well, if they're making the 1100 work, I'll do it. And I'm happy to see that Tormach is jumping on with a high-speed spindle for this machine. And I forgot what the RPM is. You can look it up on the Tormach site. That may be in my future, as well as a tool changer. But I got everything that I needed for what I thought I was going to do initially. So now that I've kind of taken you through that, I basically chose the deluxe package, the stand, the chip trays, and I had a limited budget. Basically, I spent $16,000, and I wanted 2 vices, because I know I'm going to prototype little stuff that I want to hold in a vise, and then later I can take the jaws and move them to the outer part and then put a full-size pallet on. Maybe not as good as a pallet system, but I think for what I do, I think this pallet system or the vise, double vices, is going to work for me. I wanted to make sure I had enough money to get 2 vices that were out of the same lot, just in case there was a tad bit difference. I didn't want to buy one now and wait 6 months or a year, and then, oh, I need another one. Brad from Tactical Keychains, I've watched a lot of his videos. Check him out, subscribe, he's got a great channel. Another guy that's brought a lot to sharing that made me want to purchase this machine. I will say, with dealing with Tormach, I've only used customer support one time. I called, I had maybe a 5-minute wait until I could talk to customer support, basically tech department. And I've done tech before, so I kind of understand the process a little bit. And the guy I talked to on the phone was awesome. 2 thumbs up. I give him 100% rating, and it's exactly what I thought going into this, that I'm getting with a company that I can buy a machine somewhat stripped down and build it up for there to make, meet my needs. Would I have liked to have the automatic tool changer? Yeah, I would have loved to have that. I'd love to put that in the package, but I believe it's something like $4,200. I don't even know how to use the machine yet. I'm not going to drop $4,200 to change tools when I'm not even sure what tools I need yet. So start with something and I build it up and I'll see what the need is and go from there. One of the things that I did choose was I got a Heimer, and it makes zeroing the machine and everything X, Y, and Z. It makes that super, super simple. If you don't know what a Heimer is, this is it right here with the TTS tooling system on it. Basically, you just push the button here for release with air pressure on, and you take one tool out, you put this in. This will zero your X, Y, and Z and makes it super simple. So I did add that. I always thought that super fly cutter would come in handy, so I added the super fly, and I had just a little bit left, and I went with the shear hog, and that allows me to flip something over or hog something out a lot quicker than what it did. I did get the high-speed steel cutters, 2 flute cutters, that's included with the kind of the package deal. I deleted some things. I did not have money to do the machine arm, and basically what I did is I built my own. Is the machine arm worth the money that they charge for it? I have to say yes. Why didn't I do it? I just didn't have the fundage for it. So you know what? I got tube laying around. This is what I do, is I notch and weld. So building my own arm was simple and easy. I did upgrade to the touchscreen monitor. Initially I hooked it all up, and you know, I'm not really like a read the directions type guy. So this is kind of some of the things that I wanted to save time sharing with you. The touchscreen monitor will not work without the USB cable plugged into it. And my package came with 3 USB extensions. They were in white. So you plug in, you know, the male to the female here to extend it. Basically a USB extension cord. I got those off of eBay. For the system I have, my jog pendant didn't have one, and then the screen, the monitor for this didn't have one that was long enough to reach. So I had to order 2 USB cables. I found them on eBay for $2.49 and free shipping. They were here in about 4 days. Do your research, they're there. Talking about setting the machine up. So first thing I did is I got the crates, set it up. I got the stand on the ground with the legs on, applied the grease. I really took my time with this process because I didn't want to, 1, make a mistake, and 2, I wanted to enjoy the process. Those of you that know, that have been following this, I lost my mom a year and a half ago in August of cancer. And so this money means a lot. This machine means a lot to me. It's like the gift from my mom and dad that you know, I didn't get a whole lot of help my whole adult life. Getting this is huge. I can't be more grateful, you know, it kind of tears me up. Their email was PJR ×2, Paul J. Roble and Phyllis J. Roble. So thank you. I got that up there, and every time I look, or every time I'm using this machine, I think of my mom and you know, then what my dad initially did for this. So it means a lot to me. Back to the stand. Got that set up. I got it leveled in place. I set up my blocks. I basically did some 4x4 blocks. I want to say they were something like 5.5 inches tall. And I just stood them up on end, and I set the stand up on that. I have a Harbor Freight engine hoist that has the legs that start in narrow and come out wide. And it makes for a tight fit under the machine, or it won't fit under the machine if you don't put the blocks. I did use a pallet jack. The pallet jack and the engine hoist worked great. With the engine hoist, you have to put the, at least on the Harbor Freight one I have, you have to put the arm on all the way out. If it's not all the way out, you won't have enough height. I did order the lifting bar, and the lifting bar worked outstanding. I highly recommend it. It's like $90 for something that you're going to use one time or something. You know, I don't even know what to what to say. You know, am I looking at selling it? No, because if I ever have to do anything or any type of maintenance, I'll use it again. It's not killing me sitting down there, but I recommend using it unless you had a forklift or something, you know, to get it in place. I have a 2-car garage that this machine's in. It's got a full-size mill, lathe, welding table, you know, motorcycle jig, bandsaw, everything's just surrounding it. So I had to move a few things out of the way to get it in and get it in place. I did put grease on top of the pads. I basically took the machine, I got it swinging, and I started a bolt and then started a bolt and kind of put it down a little bit more. And I basically had like, there was no more extension left on the ram. I was just right there. It took, I might have had a 1/4 inch clearance, wiggled it in place. What I would do different, I would not build the machine up against the wall. I would not bother leveling the stand before I put everything on. I would build it as far out away from the wall, at least so you can walk behind it. Why would I do that? Well, there's a couple panels that you need access to if you're going to do any options on it. One of the options I did is I went with the power drawbar. Installation instructions on that is simple. There is a panel on the back of the column that makes getting the wires from the top down to the equipment panel, computer panel, electronics panel, whatever you'd like to refer to it as. It makes it tough. I messed with it for 10 minutes and finally I got the pallet jack to move everything out. So that being said, I've probably leveled this machine, no kidding, 15 different times. There's always something that I need to get behind. So I would say when you're putting your machine together, make sure that you get your power drawbar on while everything's out. Another thing that I had a hard time finding, and it wasn't clear and wasn't stated, was where you plug everything into from the computer, like your monitor, the computer that runs the Tormach, and the coolant. So I added the coolant a little bit later. It was in the kit, but I had everything there, and I was like, okay, today I'm going to do the fog buster. That's something that I did spend money on. I did not want to run flood coolant. I don't want the mess. I got to be totally honest with you. And I think the fog buster does a great job for what it is, evacuating chips. So far, I've used the machine twice. I've fly cut across the top of my soft jaws, and I machine parallels into them. Fog buster worked great. Very happy with the standard splash trays that comes on this. Outstanding. What I did do, and some of you straight hardcore machinist guys will probably have a cow, is I used rust encapsulator on my table. I basically took the table, wiped it down, got everything off of it, prepped it, and I shot it with some like POR 15, something we use in the restoration for cars. It's basically a rust encapsulator. It keeps rust from happening. I've seen some of the guys' other machines, and I'm like, man, I got too much money in this. I always like my stuff to look nice. I use a ton of WD-40 in the shop. All my metal surfaces are wiped down, and this time of year, you know, right now we're in January. It's been wet here in Southern California, a little bit humid, and everything has just wanted to flash rust. So I keep on that Scotch-Brite and WD-40. I keep WD-40 up on the spindle nose and up down on the vices. I rust encapsulated the bottom of the vices, and we're talking, you know, what's the thickness of the encapsulator? You know, maybe a couple mils thick. I'm not worried about that. I got my vices mounted. They're encapsulated. The table's encapsulated. I just went down to the local paint and body store. I didn't use the POR 15. I used my local stuff that I've been using for years. It's called Rust Encapsulator. You can ask for it. Comes in black. Comes in about 3 different colors, like the maroon, the gray, and the black. I chose the gray just because it kind of blends in nice on that. I'll take the camera off in this next scene, and I'll show you what I did on the back with the fog buster. I kind of ran my own air system, so I can have an air hose to blow parts off. It powers the fog buster, and it powers the power drawbar. Power drawbar is located in here, and I found that to be a very easy, straightforward install. I got it all set up, and it works like a champ. I did choose the spindle light. I always like light and like to be able to see what I'm doing, so that was like a $56 option, and that was, to me, that was a no-brainer. The jog pendant, I've used that several times. That was really good. Before I conclude and take you around a quick tour of the setup that I've done, I would like to talk about PathPilot. One of the things I'm super happy with is that I didn't have to go through any of the teething or pains on Mach 3. Although I know that's a good program, PathPilot and the PathPilot conversationals are easy. For somebody that wasn't really a programmer, that's, I'm a physical, hands-on, let's make something happen guy. This thing runs basically off the computer. You can pull PathPilot up and you can do a lot of simple functions on this machine just with the conversational tabs with PathPilot. And I will take you through that in further episodes. If you're liking this, hit like and subscribe. I'll probably knock out a video every couple of weeks on this type of thing. We'll be getting back to some videos on welding and getting back to some videos on building some motorcycles. So that being said, let me take you through what I did kind of custom on this, and we'll conclude just shortly after that. So real quick, I just wanted to show you what my two-car garage actually looks like. And it's packed, but it's very efficient for one person to run around and do everything he needs to do or she needs to do. So coming in here, we have my Tormach 1100, and I got a dedicated toolbox kind of set up for that. That was something that my dad didn't need anymore, and I wanted to use that in connection with the machine because it means something to me. So coming back behind here, see if we can get a good view of this. I have this thing super close to the wall. I got about 2 inches now. You can actually see if you look close enough that there's a ding in the drywall with the Y-axis motor. And here's kind of like a little bit shot from this side of where I plumbed in the fog buster. Here's my arm that I built. It's kind of a copy off of theirs. I built it out of everything that I had that was scrap, painted up with some Krylon. So it took me, cost me about $3.49, I believe, plus tax to do this. Still have a couple more cables to cable tie in. Those are things that I added with the monitor to make the touchscreen work. As far as the touchscreen goes, you type in admin touchscreen, and that will allow you to set that up, but it will not even allow you to do that if you do not have the USB on. So here's my table with the rust encapsulator. It probably is not going to stay on forever. It's a very light coat, what I wanted. I didn't want a whole lot of variance in thickness through it. Like I said, a couple mils thick. You can see I actually hit some on the vise. The bottom side's done, the sides are done. So basically the machine surface up top is not painted in the back. Monster jaws, I got the oversized ones for the Tormach. I think they are 7 by 1.5 off the top of my head, maybe 6 by 1.5. It was their biggest ones they had available, and once again, I want to be able to take either of these or the other ones that work also and put them in the back here, and there's more holes back here. So you have your vice jaws sitting here. Now you can open this up and put a full-size pallet on here to work everything. So I plan on, being able to fab a part up or machine a part here for a prototype. And once you get that prototype down, now you can lay out a whole pallet if you're going to do a production on them. Fog buster, one of the things that I did learn when I was setting it up is I lubed the holes with a little WD-40, and the front 2 holes cracked. They did that because I believe I had too much WD-40 in there and there wasn't enough to do. So something to do. Be cautious on that. Those holes are not threaded. It takes a little bit to get them started. I did use an impact to get them going, and then a ratchet to run them down, and I just must have been no place for the WD-40 to go, and it cracked it. I have it set up. Another thing to talk about on this that I made the mistake on is this, actually the actuator gets plugged into the back of the panel, so once again that had to come off the wall for that. You know, time mistake. And I wanted to mount this bracket so it was, see how the L is basically going up? I had it so it was going down. It lined up with the hole here. Not a big deal. I was able to, you know, make it work, flipping the bracket and putting this back up on top, but this won't actually plug into where it needs to go. You know, there's 50 different places to mount that. I thought that was good because I can see the level and it's easy to service. Not sure if I will be doing an enclosure, but here again, that's always an option. I got the manual oiler. I use that about every 4 hours. I've probably already used it 3 or 4 times because I just wanted to make sure that it had oil on all the ways, not running anything dry. So coming back here, we'll see if we can do this. This was a trip to Home Depot. Bunch of brass fittings. And it's basically T's and everything set up so I can run everything up and run the power draw bar, run the fog buster, and be able to, you know, blow chips off with this. So that being said, that's kind of my journey. Here's my little tool setup. I would like to comment that the tooling package, the TTS package, and how you measure stuff in the granite blocks and all that, I'll take you through that. There's several videos on that already. I found that to be super easy, super accurate. When I was doing the conversational on PathPilot, one of the things that I did was I didn't program my height low enough. I had it at 0, and you know, the first mistake. And I ran this cutter across, and man, the whole thing basically ran across the top. I just let it run. It ran across the top right at 0. And you can see the finish on that. And I think for the fly cutter, I used 3 inches a minute and 3,000 RPMs. That was just something that I had picked up on Facebook or YouTube. And I thought that worked. The finish turned out really, really nice. The cutter here, I did download G-Wizard, and this is actually a 9/16 2 flute, never used before, something that I had from my manual machine. And the speeds and feeds that it gave me as soon as I took the first cut over here, I believe I was at something like 2,700 and 6 inches a minute, and that was way too fast. So I was quick on the bar. There's a slide bar on PathPilot to slow everything down to 0. I went down to 0, and I changed up the parameters, and I finally got a good cut. But it turned out really nice. I didn't deburr this. I didn't do anything to it. Just that's right off the machine. I used the fog buster for this, and for this I just used WD-40 for doing the fly cuts. Worked out great. Well, that's going to be it. One of the things that I did not include is dimensions. I'm basically 49 inches from the back wall to the front of the machine with how I have it set up. There's a couple inch space from that Y stepper in the back. We are a full 80 inches wide. It was a little bit bigger than I had anticipated. I thought it was going to be a little bit smaller machine. I'm very happy with the size. Right now, what's my impressions? Would I recommend this to a friend to buy one? For sure. I don't know if I would tell somebody to go finance one and then figure it out how you're going to make money with it. I estimate my learning curve on this unit. I'm kind of giving myself 6 months, and I'm pretty persistent, but I got work and I got other things going on. So I think 6 months I'll be making great parts, and I'll have enough figured out with feeds and speeds on this that I feel confident with Fusion 360 CAD and CAM. I've just started my first on that. I'm trying to do 1 hour a day where I'm at the computer making something, and I think day after day the repetition of that plus watching the videos will take me to a level that I want to be around June. So thank you for watching. I know I've been long-winded on this. My other videos will be a little bit more to the point, but still share the things that I think that's important to share with you guys. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe. I'm Tim Roble, and I'll catch you here next time.